So eventually I fell in love with reading. I was able to get a bachelor's degree. I was able to get my financial freedom. I was able to retire at the age of Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Frank Quiñegas. I am the ambassador of reading, and I'm very excited about the topic today. It's one of my favorite topics. It is called Why is Reading Important? And I'm gonna talk to you as the ambassador of reading and as an elementary school teacher. So I'm gonna talk about you because it should be about you watching the channel. However, as you know, I always talk about family, so I'm going to extend it to those that have children so that you can make a big benefit by watching our channel, okay? So let me start with me, and then of course I'm going to merge it into you. I wasn't a reader. I didn't like reading. I was one of those that I said, I hated reading. I hate reading. I hate reading. And it wasn't until I came across this wonderful lady named Cheryl Chang, where she invited me to take this seminar called PSI, that I discovered the power of the brain, the power that we human beings have by creating what we think. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm my worst enemy. I constantly say that I hate reading, therefore I'm gonna hate reading. I'm creating a dislike for reading. Wow, I wonder if I can change it. And so I said, if I'm the one that's been creating the problem, then I should be the one that fixes the problem. So I started telling people, I like reading. And of course, that little fight inside the head, no, you don't, shut up. You don't like reading. And I would have to constantly remind myself, I like reading, I like reading. And I started wondering, why do people don't like reading? A lot of people don't like reading. There's statistics on it. I'm not going to get into it, but a lot of people don't read. And they don't read, I think, due to subliminal messages. There's a lot of messages all around us that lead people to believe that they don't like reading. That's going to be another topic. We're going to have to record on that, I think, soon, about subliminal messages. Because, man, is that like constant bombardment on the brain that people don't like reading. Anyway, I didn't like reading. I started by saying I like reading. And the arguments in my head, I like reading, I like reading, I like reading. Eventually, I started liking reading. I go, oh, wow, I think I do like reading. And then changed it into I love reading. Well, once I changed it into I love reading, I started loving reading, and I'll tell you why I fell in love with reading. Because of all the benefits that I gained from it. Once I started loving reading, I went from a high school dropout. I've already shared that in another one of my videos, how I didn't finish high school. Well, I realized if I don't read, how am I going to pass any of my classes? So eventually I fell in love with reading. I was able to get a bachelor's degree. I was able to get my financial freedom. I was able to retire at the age of 40. Who's not going to love something that's getting that much dividends? So I said, oh man, I love reading. And I was sitting at my desk one time and I pulled out my books and I put them on piles, different piles. And I don't know how I came up with a formula. I don't know what I multiplied, what I divided, but I'll tell you what happened. I counted my books and I divided and multiplied, and it turned out that every single book that I had read had given me approximately $45,000. Who wouldn't want to read it? Imagine you getting paid $10,000 to read a book, or $15,000 or $20,000. In my case, it was $45,000. Now people are thinking, how did you calculate that? Well, I added all my money and all my investments, and then I divided by the books that I had read that had contributed to me in that sense, like Robert Kiyosaki, Robert Allen, Susie Orman, Think and Grow Rich, to mention a few. And I said, all these books have contributed to the way that I think now, to the way that I invest, and what gets me excited to move forward in my finances. And that's how I turned out to $45,000 per book. So you do with it whatever you want. I strongly suggest that if you're one of those people like me that says I don't like reading, change it to I like reading, and let your brain argue. Let it get into the battle. I like reading, and stick to it. You're the one that put it in there. You're the one that can change it. I like reading, I like reading, I like reading, and see the benefits of it. Chances are you're going to be like me that says I love reading. And then you're going to share this channel. I know a lot of people get excited about my videos, how to pay off a house in 10 years or less, or 2 investments that guarantee gains, or pay off your debt and live happy. I know that a lot of people like those. I hope you guys that are watching fall in love with this video and share it. This video should get 1 million views. Give it to the kids, man, and I'll tell you, we're going to get to the kids in a little bit. In my book, even though it's called What Are You Looking For?, most of it is about falling in love with reading. I strongly suggest you fall in love with reading. Now let's talk about the kids. In case you have kids, if you don't have kids, stick around. Who knows? You might have kids in the future. And if we change our future generations to loving reading, this whole world becomes different. People that watch this sort of channel want the information and they want it quick. If you want to be the person that has the knowledge, get into the reading. You'll be the person that now shares with others. And who knows, you might change a whole community. Who knows, you might be the one that changes the world due to reading. I strongly suggest that you become a reader. Now for kids, and coming from the teacher perspective, stick around. At the university, they split the kid. As we're learning the child development, they split them, I think, from 0 to 2, 2 to 4, and so on and so forth. And we talk about growth movements. And anyway, we're not going to go there. We're going to go splitting the kid into 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, and 12 to 18, and then an adult. So if you have a kid 0 to 4, I love those. I love that stage. Everything's magical. Now you're probably wondering, wait a minute, 0? There's no kid to read to. Well, the baby's on its way. I remember my son is going to be 29. I read to that kid when he was in the stomach, and I used to touch the stomach and talk to the stomach and read to the stomach. I knew my baby was coming, so I was reading to him. And then I read to my other kid, and I read to my daughter. All three are readers on their own now. Why? Because they fell in love with reading since they were barely coming into this planet. I've been reading to them. Now they read on their own. Anyway, if you have a kid 0 to 4, if the kid is already out and it's 2, 3, maybe 4 years old, you want to find a nice comfy spot. You want to go to the sofa, or you want to go to their bed, let them hold their favorite blanket, or let them hold their little teddy bear or little stuffed animal and read to them. Now, at that stage, they like repetition. They may ask you to read the book over and over and over again. Read it to them. For them, it's fun. And if you read it accordingly, if there's a spot where you have to change your voice and you change it, they like that. Let's read it again, Daddy, or let's read it again, Mommy. And when you read it and you get to that part, they're waiting for that part and they get excited. They're like, oh yeah, that was so funny. So that little baby from 0 to 4, they like repetition. They like drawings. They like pictures. If they can see it, it helps them imagine and create their own little thing. And remember, they ask you to read it 100 times. Be nice, read it. Because once that time is over, it never comes back. I mean, I enjoy my time. I no longer read to my kids. They read on their own, and sometimes we share the book. Hey, have you read this book? Have you read this book? What do you think about this book? Anyway, so that's from 0 to 4. From 4 to 8, you're going to be able to read a little longer books. If they're on the younger side, they're still going to appreciate drawings and pictures, and they're still going to want to talk about it, repetition. As they get older, you're going to be able to just talk about the story. Hey, how are you liking the story? And what do you think? And they avoid asking questions where it's a yes or a no, and that's it. Have open-ended questions like, what did you think could have been different? Or if you ask, did you like the story? They say yes. Now expand it. What did you like about the story? If they say no, what is it that you didn't like about the story? Maybe the ending. How can you create a different ending? So that's from 4 to 8. From 8 to 12, now they're going to get into chapter books, and they're going to love it. And maybe the way you're going to be sharing time with them, maybe they can read a page, you can read a page, or they can read a chapter, you can read a chapter, and share and talk about it. Don't just read through the book. What do you think? What do you think is happening? How could it be different? And kids at that stage, they're using their imagination. They're creating their own stories. One of my favorite books, and I didn't say it in Spanish, but I'll say it here in English, is the book Holes. And Holes made a movie. And I remember the first time I read Holes, and then we watched the movie, we were like, oh, that's not the way Stanley Yelnats looks on the book. And it was fun to be able to talk to my kids about it. It's like, oh man, they could have done this. However, they did a great job in the movie too. So even though they didn't get the character the way they described him in the book, they did a great job with the movie. And that's fun for those kids. From 8 to 12, they're going to be now reading chapter books. And maybe if you're still reading with them, share the book. Maybe they have their own copy and you have your own copy and you're reading it and you're sharing what did you like, what you didn't like. And at that stage, it's going to be different. At that stage, I know my son, Nicholas, he enjoys reading Harry Potter books. They're thick books. And he'll go through a whole book in a week or two and he's done with them. He likes that. Now for you, if you're going to go, it's okay to have fun books, story books, but also be selective for your books. If you want to move in your finances, get finance books. If you want to move in any topic, whatever interests you, if the brain of the human being interests you, read books on that topic. Okay, so I'm going to conclude it now. And what I want to conclude it with is that your kids are going to copy you. So if your baby is small from 0 to 4 and they watch you read, you're sending images to their brain like, wow, my mom reads or my dad reads. I want to be a reader. I have so many examples. I mean, there was a store up here where I live. They used to call it the little old bookstore. And I would take my kids purposely and I would tell them, okay, well, I'm going to select a few books for me to buy. I'm going to buy 2. I'm going to let you buy 1. And then next week we can come for another one. And I didn't have a phone back then where I would take pictures of them. The images are in my head. And I would see my son Adam, my son Nick, my daughter Paola. They look so cute because I would sit on the floor and get a pile of books and I would review them. And they would get their pile of books and they would review them. Guess what? They saw me fall in love with reading. They were falling in love with reading. And I still remember they would get together all 3 and they would go, well, how are you going to tell them? And how are you going to tell them? I want 3 books. I want 2 books. And they would come up with good arguments. Dad, please, I really want the 2nd book. Please let me have. No, we said 1 book. And me, I'm playing the game for them to fall in love with reading. I go, yeah, I'm choosing 2, but you're little, so you got to take 1. Please, I really want this one. What if they take it? I promise I'm going to read it. And okay, I guess we can take 2 books. And they fell in love with reading. Why? Because they saw me read. They saw my wife read. They saw me read. They became readers. You want your kids to be readers, you become a reader. Pretend. Remember, tell your brain, I like reading, I like reading, I love reading. And guess what? If you become a reader and they see you fall in love with reading, they're going to fall in love with reading. And then they're going to grow up and their kids are going to fall in love with reading. And you might be creating a whole new generation in your family of readers. And reading is power. And once you read and you have the knowledge and you take an action and you adjust it to get the result that you want, adjust, keep on reading, keep on adjusting, eventually you get to your success and you're going to love it. I think you're going to love it. And you're going to love watching your generation become readers and then their generations become readers. It wasn't cheap to buy a book in the beginning of time. It used to cost a lot of money. It was meant for the rich. Rich people could read. Now anybody can read. Choose to become a reader. Hey, the ambassador reader is telling you, it's giving you the best advice. Get the knowledge in there. Take some action. We're going to leave it at that. I hope you liked the video today. I hope you share it 1,000,000 times because people expect the gold out of my other videos. This is gold. Reading is gold. I already told you what made me have my freedom at the age of 40, to retire at the age of 40. I already told you that it gave, I was able to get a university degree. Man, reading is so much power. Get it? That, no one can stop you from it. You go out and invest in your brain, invest in some good books. You're probably going to end up having your own channel and follow what I told you, and you're going to tell others. We're going to leave it at that. Till next time, your friend, the ambassador of reading, Frank Quiniguez, wishing you well today and always, knowing that you will find and get what you are looking for. Thank you for watching our channel and congratulations for making it here, where we give information that benefits the individual that's watching and their loved ones. I invite you to subscribe and be part of our channel, set the notifications and watch the new videos. Thank you and welcome.